into the internet.
Sweet.
And our voices are being heard all across the globe. Anyone who cares to tune into this channel, no advertisements, stop it.
Oh, I thought you invented some sort of cool theme that was going to run while you were speaking.
You know, the video preview that this thing has. Oh, we need to update this to episode 28.
All right.
Refreshing the screen.
Come on, Crofton. Find the energy. Drink the Pepsi Max.
Let me get the music going.
Come on, Crofton. You can dig deep.
That's a nice dance performance, Crofton.
It's a nice musical performance, Bo.
I think I'm definitely in admiration of your proficiency at dancing.
Keeping the energy up,
All right.
buddy.
All right, so we're ready just to jump in. I think I have all systems are go, and we can just start recording whenever. So,
For sure.
right,
Ready? Give me the tick, tick, ticks.
all right, I'll give you the tick, tick, ticks. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the Exclamation Mark podcast. The podcast that is... wait a second, Bo. I'm going to restart this because I didn't even look at your write-up for this week.
Oh, it is. All right, we're doing over.
Let's
Next
do
time
it one
we
more
do it
time.
live. If you screw it up, we're just still going. All right.
Hello and welcome to the Exclamation Mark podcast, the only podcast with interactive QuickTime events. Press X now Y, now B, now right bumper, now left bumper, now X again. Oh, you failed. Too bad, podcast over. My name is Crofton Steers. I am the Greg Miller of this show, if you will. And with me, as always, is Bo Schwartz, the PewDiePie of this show.
Hi guys, how's it going? Let's play some games. I'm PewDiePie.
We're both trending gamers.
Listen, is that what PewDiePie does? I don't even know. I don't really watch the guy. I think I might have seen one video, and I think that's what he sounds like. But also, who is Greg Miller?
You don't know Greg Miller?
I know.
Man, I'm a huge Greg Miller fanboy. Greg, if you're listening, call me. He was an IGN personality. Has now started Kind of Funny Games. I listen to their podcast all the time.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I know he won an award at the VGAs, which we're gonna dive into. But that was probably the first time I heard of Greg Miller. I was like, okay.
But that's because you're not very informed on some of this stuff, Bo. That's why you have me in your life.
On the general game enthusiast. I'm like I know certain niches. Like if you give me, who's playing Elite Dangerous on Twitch, like I know the guys. But if you ask me who the large general gaming people are. I'm like, I don't like those people. But let's
I
argue.
think you'd like Greg Miller. He's a pretty jovial guy, and honestly, he is a little more PlayStation focused. Like his show on IGN was called Beyond, and they have a new PlayStation show as well. So they are a little more console focused. So that could explain. Bo, as longtime listeners may be aware, hates everyone who owns a console with the rage of 1,000 suns.
I don't hate them. I just don't buy them, and I don't get why you would choose, a Cadillac. Why wouldn't you choose a Rolls Royce and instead get like some crappy sedan? That's the console in this analogy.
You know what? One time when we do a dialogue tree on the show, we should do like a point counterpoint consoles versus PC.
Yes, we need to have that war because that conversation is not happening enough on the internet.
I just think it would be.
We really need to have this.
Obviously, that always happens, and like there's the PC Master Race, and then there's the console. The mass console population. Anyway, I think we should just dive right into it because we've been off for 2 weeks, as you may recall, Bo. We needed a little time to recharge.
Our listeners are going to go a whole 3 weeks without an episode. Finally, they're going to cross this desert and get to a new episode and be very pleased, I think.
And I think that's podcasts need to recharge sometimes, and we wanted to play some games. We felt that we'd been sort of talking about the same games for a while, and I think both of us have played some new stuff we want to talk about today. And there's a lot of game news, right? There's a lot of stuff to talk about. The Game Awards 2015, PlayStation Experience this week, and a lot of other stuff. It's all built up, and we're ready to go through it now. I don't know how long this episode will be, but buckle your belts, boys and girls, unless you're on the bus.
Yeah.
In case you probably don't have a
take your
seatbelt.
time moving your bowels if you're listening to this on the toilet.
And if you're get you through a lot of.
And if you're at work, then whatever. You got a big long 8-hour day. You got plenty of time to listen to us talk. So I know some people do listen to these shows at work. So if that's you, this is dedicated to the workday podcast listener. All right.
Yes.
All right. So let's just start up. Let's cue up the music, right?
Right on.
All right. Wait, do you do the thing? It's been so long, I forget. Aren't you supposed to?
No, it's you. I wouldn't even know where to begin pulling it.
But aren't you supposed to roll out the red carpet and say,
"Oh,
and
yes.
now it's time for Crofton's Banana Hammock."
It's time for the news in a segment we like to call readme.txt. Banana Hammock.
readme.txt.
So,
all right.
The biggest piece of news that happened in our 3 weeks off, I think, was the Game Awards.
Game Awards, for sure. It's funny because it's that time right at the end of the year. It's not just the Game Awards, but soon all the big websites and whatever will be rolling out their Game of the Year type nominees. But I feel like so a few years ago there was that. Do you remember the VGAs on Spike? Do you ever remember those?
Yeah, I remember those. This isn't the same thing.
Well, it's sort of like they discontinued the VGAs 2 years ago or something, and then Jeff Keighley, who's a prominent video game personality,
he often hosts BlizzCon and didn't this year to focus on Game Awards, actually.
Yeah, and he wasn't even sure that he was going to do it again. Like he said, it's clearly a lot of work, a lot of organization. It's neat that it's streamed on YouTube and all that. Did you watch the Game Awards this year?
I did, but I might have been playing a game while watching it. So
which is the only way to watch them.
My focus might have been like, because clearly I missed some things, which we'll go over because you didn't.
So let's start with what were your overall impressions?
My overall impressions was that, so we have another show called Good, Bad, or Bullshit where we discussed game or just award shows. And to me, this fell into that category of like, it was the gaming cartel advertising all of its wares at the market. There
was a lot of marketing.
Yeah, and so it was just uninteresting, I suppose. my curiosity was piqued at the amount of times her story won for things. I
think didn't it only win the one award?
It won 2 awards actually. I think for best VO performance and for some other thing too. Hang on, I've got it up here. Maybe best narrative or something like that. Yeah, best narrative, and I think it was the woman who was featured in one for that as well. But I had a little cheer because of course Rocket League won an award, and it
won 2 awards.
Oh, well, won 2, and I only caught the one. And The Witcher, won every time Witcher a box got checked off in my head. Crofton's like approves of this Witcher thing because I know you're a big fan of The Witcher.
Dude, you have no idea how excited I was when they won Game of the Year and that Polish guy ran back up. I was like, yes, I'm so happy.
There were some...
You could not have picked winners more in line with Crofton if you tried. So best art direction went to Ori and the Blind Forest, which I gushed about earlier this year. Totally agree. Amazing. Best best sports game and best independent game went to Rocket League. Totally agree. Amazing. Best developer of the year and best game of the year and best RPG of the year went to The Witcher 3. I'll be honest, I have not played yet Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm about to, but it's essentially the big competitor to The Witcher 3 in these big awards. And a lot of people on a lot of other podcasts talk about Metal Gear Solid as like the game to beat. I listened to a predictions of the Game Awards show before, and everybody's talking about Metal Gear Solid. And I was like, what is wrong with you people? The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games of all time. So I was actually really happy when it won. And I share your stuff about award shows, Bo, but honestly, I can see generally past the marketing stuff. And in a show like this, they're talking about games that I care about. All the games that I was into won, and there was trailers for new games and stuff like that and announcements. And I like that as well. So in terms of award shows, if I'm going to watch one, I thought... it was super well put together. It was sort of classy. There were some musical performances, but they weren't like ostentatious. It wasn't like the Spike Awards that were really kind of... There was a touching tribute to Iwata, who died for Nintendo this year. Greg Miller delivered a really great speech as the trending gamer. I was so glad that he won and not some of those other...
That's fans' choice. I like to underscore the fans' choice section, which is just... It's basically who can get the most tweets motivated. Like, it's got nothing to do with anything.
But that's what the trending.
It's not best gamer. It's not most influential gamer. It's the trending gamer.
They are the most influential gamer if they're able to get the most votes out, right?
Yeah, but that's
what influence is.
There's nothing of substance to being the most influential.
No, there isn't. Gamer. But you should. Greg took that, what is essentially a meaningless award, and made it like a touching tribute to the industry in his speech. I thought that was amazing.
I missed the speech. Because I'm like, trending gamers is dumb. I tuned out and watched the game, played the game I was playing. I didn't.
You should watch the speech. It helps that I know who Greg was and stuff like that. But his speech is pretty much. I made my wife watch it, and she thought it was great. I know,
so, like, the names here aren't for the nominees. Like Total Biscuit, someone whose videos I've watched before. We know who PewDiePie is, and this Monte Cristo. Out of everyone on the list, I think I like this Christopher Mickles guy. He's a shoutcaster in esports for League of Legends.
He's the only one I never heard of.
Yeah, he's a. It's funny because this guy is not like a gaming advertisement. He's like a sportscaster for basketball. He's just a guy who does League of Legends and knows the game really well, the Korean scene in particular really well.
Greg Miller's the best. I agree. Was there? I guess like the problem you had, and one of the reasons you're raging against this clearly is you haven't played probably one of the games other than Rocket League was nominated.
Here's the big way the games affected me, and if you want a longer conversation on this, listen to Core. It's the Heroes of the Storm podcast I do, but they had an esports game of the year. Notably, most of the games on this list were not released this year. They have like League of Legends, Dota, Counter-Strike Go. Hearthstone, like not new games, but they had an esports category, no heroes on the list. We had a long conversation about that, and so all of this fan choice stuff I thought was highly like suspect, and I'm trying to look at,
It said the nominees for the Game Awards were selected by a jury of 30 international media, except for the esports. So esports nominees were voted on by an advisory panel consisting of esports media and sites. I think that's about as best. Like, they seem to handle it. Only Trending Gamer was the one that was voted for. Like, everything else was done by, like, I thought in terms of being an accurate representation, like, honestly, I haven't played all these games, but I feel like The Witcher 3 was getting shat on, or not shat on by people, but I'd watch these shows or listen to these podcasts, and people would not have played it. Like I played the beginning, but then I got, I had other stuff to do because I'm a busy games journalist. Well, that's fine and good, but it's the game. It's amazing, and somebody needs to fully get immersed in it. And so I really did like the fact that this jury of 30 international media, like, clearly people from around the world, there was a fine enough advantage that gave them the win. And CD Projekt Red, which, as we remember from my unboxing and the nice note that they gave saying thank you for buying our product, the free DLC, for them to get Developer of the Year, I think is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, and that's the jury voted stuff. So this esports stuff was all fan based. Like, it's not the jury.
Esports stuff was voted on by an advisory panel consisting of esports media and websites.
Well, what is
so? What is like?
Why is it called fans' choice if fans aren't voting for it?
Fans, I don't know, because it's in a different category, but they say it at the top of the.
If you go to the Game Awards site and you go to the nominees page, like, and you scroll down, you'll see fans' choice. Like,
read the thing that it says at the very beginning, at top. It says, esports nominees were voted on by an advisory panel consisting of esports media and sites. So what that means is that they set the nominees. Yeah. So if you're lamenting that something was left off the nominees list, it's because they voted it off the
right. Well, regardless, it's bullshit either way. But yes, you're right.
It's just bullshit because your favorite game was not on it.
Exactly. That's why award shows are bad. Crofton, you were validated this year at the award show. But there have been other years where the blade cuts both ways. Dragon Age Inquisition winning Game of the Year last year, such a pile of crap. And, you
haven't played Dragon Age Inquisition.
The game was out 2 days, and they got the Game of the Year award. I call shenanigans. There were some other releases that year that were probably much better. And I just don't know how you decide in 3 days that this is the Game of the Year. It seems really weird.
Because as long as they meet the release window, which it says at the top there, as long as they meet the release window and they get advanced code and stuff, people can play it. And
I know how the rules work, but honestly, I'm not going to decide a game is like the best thing I've ever played with my initial reaction. Like, that opinion needs time to form and ferment, and I felt like that was really. It felt like this game is awesome. It just got released Game of the Year,
I would argue that it was the game of last year, though. Like, only Hearthstone might have been worth considering, and a lot of people did consider it. But last year was a shit year for games.
Well, I'm not saying that it didn't. I'm saying the manner in which it was handled is suspect, and that I don't agree that the award shows are, I don't think any of this is valuable to anybody except for the industry involved. So gamers love Game of the Year stuff of any culture that I hate it.
If any culture that I can think of, the gamers love it more than anyone. They love it more than the cinephiles. They love it more than the book readers. Everybody.
Not everybody
floods to these Game of the Year sites every year. They talk about how they get their highest metrics. There are people who are interested in it. Now, of course, there's always outliers, and you're an outlier in this. But it doesn't change the fact that there is an acute interest. And I feel like as part of giving sort of like the same sort of gravitas to our chosen interest. Industry and stuff like that. If there are going to be these game awards or these award shows for other industries, it's only right that the people that work hard making games get recognized as well. And I feel like this show, compared to the Spike show previously, compared to just getting recognized on some website, is much more meaningful. It's nice. You get attention. You get to see faces as opposed to just reading like who the winner was and stuff. I thought it was like seeing that Polish dude go up and accept the award for her best developer and be so excited and shouting out to his friends back home. Like, I don't know. I like that they get that opportunity because they're sitting in front of their computer working so hard,
Yeah, well, same with the developers of Heroes of the Storm, by the way, not nominated in any of the jury-voted categories, which, in my point of view, is a huge oversight since it was released this year. But when you feel good about the people that have won, then it's all great. But then when you like something that doesn't get recognized, it sucks.
No, that's true. And like in every medium, there's tons of movies or tons of games that come out, and they can't all make the final cut or be nominated and stuff. I look at the categories here, and there's only a couple that maybe a game like Heroes would fit into, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad game, that it's not nominated or whatever. But it just, like I understand, like if The Witcher had been screwed out of Game of the Year and like, let's say, I don't know, Fallout 4 won it or whatever, I might be much more sour on it than I am now. But that goes to show, and your bitterness and me admitting that goes to show the power that these things have. Like, people do put stock in them, and I think of all the shows, this is the best of the ones that both like, even comparing it to the big budget ones like the Oscars, they're under time cap. They balance. The show moves quickly. Few commercials because it's on YouTube. There are some really obnoxious sponsorship stuff, but I understand that they have to make ends meet, and they're fairly transparent about it for the most part. And then they have like, fairly straightforward, interesting categories, unlike these other shows that have like really annoying, boring categories. Almost everyone I care about in for the Game Awards. So I thought they did a good job of putting it together, and I'll be looking forward to it next year. But I can see how it'd be annoying.
Yeah, there's a lot of annoying aspects for me. But I will say on the advertising front that watching advertisements for games, like, you're tuning in because you like games. It's not. It's totally fine to see marketing for new. We like hype on the thing we like. It's when we start getting ads for Doritos that I start losing my crap.
Well, what drove me nuts was they had this like lady in this social lounge with Star Wars
the Battlefront thing. Yeah, that was unbearable.
Yeah,
and even Cliffy B was in there going like, yeah, I really like Battlefront. I got this game Lawbreakers. It's way fucking better. Well, oops, I didn't say that, but Battlefront, you should play it. I liked the JPEG.
What's your favorite part of Battlefront? Oh, I love playing as Darth Vader, and like everybody, came out, and nobody could say like, well, I like Battlefront, but there's a dearth of content. Nobody's going to say that. They're just going to be like, yeah, it's so good, and so that stuff definitely was annoying. But I really like the touching tribute to Iwata and Greg Miller's speech, and I just thought there was a fair amount of class to it, and I like.
The Hideo Kojima controversy, because Jeff Keighley made a point of underscoring why he couldn't make it.
And that was the news coming out of it.
If you go to the jury and advisors panel, Hideo is on the advisory board for the awards. And even so, Konami, I guess apparently forbid him to accept the award.
Yeah, forbade him from attending and stuff. And I liked how Jeff called it out right there. It was like, we were informed by the lawyers of Konami that he could not show. And that was a huge news story coming out of the awards. And I thought that like it was a big FU to Konami, well deserved and stuff. I don't necessarily like Hideo Kojima, but like he's being screwed by this company, Well,
so he's an auteur, and I don't know. Again, games development's a weird thing. I guess it's movies too. Like, there's there's some controversy about the team behind making that game in terms of their working conditions and things like that.
Well, I'll talk about this more later, but I've been playing a Metal Gear, the Ground Zeroes, which is like the prequel to Phantom Pain, and it's almost hilarious when you start that game because Hideo Kojima's name comes up about 6 times before anybody else's name comes up. It's like a Hideo Kojima production based on a script by Hideo Kojima, directed by Hideo Kojima. And then it's like, supporting writers include some guy, and Hideo Kojima, so it was just, I remember laughing out loud and being like, because there was such a controversy over his name being taken off the box. I'm like, I'm pretty sure anybody who plays the game for over 2 seconds would be would be well advised of who developed it or whatever. So he clearly has no small ego. But that said, I mean, it's still douchey to block him from attending an award show.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, considering all the other developers are there, and if it's his name on the box, then he should be there. So,
or they
not
took
on
his
the
name
box,
off the
but
box.
If it's his name everywhere but the box, he should be up there. And
So,
hang on, wait. Because they did also, I guess, honor him by having the actress who plays Quiet. I think that was her. Perform
I don't
musical
think so.
number?
It was just a musical performance of Quiet's theme in the game, wasn't it?
Well, she looked a lot like Quiet. I think she might have been the mo-capped actress. That's the impression I got. But okay, that was painful. She was off key like the whole time. Like it was embarrassing.
I'll trust you to that because I know nothing about music. Sounded fine to me, although I didn't like the song. But
yeah, no, she was off key. Like unless that was intended as part of Quiet's theme, it was pretty awful. I thought it melted me into my chair. I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing.
I liked the Churches group that played that song. It was good.
I muted it when there was music numbers. I didn't watch any of that stuff.
Oh, I liked the Churches song. I thought it was good. I also liked the Dead Mouse stuff. It had all that sort of music from Mario and stuff, and it was cool. Yeah, announcement. So a game that I recommended a few episodes back as my pick was Shadow Complex, which is an Epic Games Epic chair, and it was only on Xbox 360. I still own it on Xbox 360, but my Xbox isn't plugged in, and I felt it was going to just be orphaned there because I don't have an Xbox One. And they announced, hey, we're remastering it, and it's going to come to all these systems, and you can get it on PC for free now. And I thought that was pretty cool. I don't understand how they make money giving it for free, but
it's for free for a limited time, right?
But like, it's not like it's got any legs. Like, you download it, you play it, you're done, and then it's like, why would you pay it for it later?
I downloaded it. It's in a launcher, like your BattleNet launcher. There's now an Epic Games launcher. So okay. I imagine it works like I have Overwatch installed in my system, but I was only in the limited beta. So once the time period's over, I can't play it anymore.
Oh, really? Eh? So you think it just you can't just download it and have it? It's going to be like
it's an online DRM version, basically. So you're getting it for free for a little while, and then.
Well, I would strongly recommend that anybody who doesn't want to pay money for it downloads it over the December season because it's an awesome game. I quite enjoyed it anyway. What other stuff? So there were a couple of Telltale game reveals, as I find are like those guys put out so many of these games a year now. Like so many, they generally have about 3 or 4 series running. Like last year was what? Game of Thrones, Tales from the Borderlands.
There was Walking Dead was kind of wrapping.
Maybe they just have 2 a year. Maybe it was just Game of Thrones and Tales from the Borderlands.
There's another one, Minecraft Story Mode. I guess that's ramping up, but yeah,
Minecraft Story Mode. That's right. And then the year before, that's the year that I was into The Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead Season 2, and they might have had other stuff. So anyway, they announced Walking Dead Mission, which I guess is
Mission. Just
Mission, yeah, that's what I said.
No, it's just Mission.
Yeah, that's what I said, Mission.
Mission is not Mission. It's Mission.
So yeah, it's which again in the same sort of art style as the comics and all that. It was based on the comic version of that character. Yeah. I mean, it's good in a way that they're getting away from Clementine and stuff and doing something a little different. But at the same time, I feel like she's not ever going to be threatened or
I still got to get back to that because I played the first episode and never finished it. And part of it was because being Clementine, I don't know.
The second one was really good. It's obviously super depressing, and that's the one thing I would say about it. But I thought it was pretty fun, and playing Mission will be the same, I think, except for the fact that for me, I'm a little OD'd on The Walking Dead. Maybe I'll pick it up sometime when it's cheap, but I'm much more excited about the Batman one, which was done with like such a cool noir art style. Like even sort of older school than Frank Miller. It kind of looked like original Batman from like the 40s or 50s. They didn't show any sort of action or in-game. It was really just like a teaser trailer. But it got me excited anyway. That's totally one that I will check out because it'll probably be more narrative-based than action-based, I would imagine,
yeah,
being a Telltale game.
One of the cool parts about the Arkham series of Batman is the detective mode. I really like to go into detective mode, but there isn't much depth to the gameplay there. So I like because he's he's like the true detective or the dark detective, like
the Dark Knight, the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, I think so. He's got like a tagline with detective.
It's the world's greatest detective.
So like I'd appreciate if the Batman take was more on the detective side of things. I think that would make a really great gaming experience. Actually, that's pretty exciting.
Anyway, I'm excited for it. I think it looks cool, and we'll see what they got to offer. I agree, the detective side of things, and also if it was like a period piece, because Batman keeps getting updated for different times, and if you play Arkham Knight is super futuristic, like everything is super technologically advanced. You see all these sort of glamour shots of his armor, and everything's automatic, and there's screens everywhere and all that. But Batman's existed since the 30s, and like you could have like a really cool old school Batman set in the 50s or 60s. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome too. I want an old school period piece with Batman for sure. So
they announced Psychonauts 2. Did you ever play the first Psychonaut?
I did actually. I played first 3-4 stages a long time ago and just never got back to it.
Psychonauts is one of those games that lives in sort of the emotional mind of a lot of people. It's one of those ones like when Shenmue was announced earlier this year in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It activates that same sort of nostalgia lobe that people have, and they're also doing Double Fine's doing a Day of the Tentacle remaster, which was an adventure game I played as a kid, I'm glad that these games will live on and that they get sequels, but at the same time, like they announced it's going to be another Kickstarter type deal, and I just wish that these games could be funded by.
Like
I guess traditional means.
Yeah, like just make a great game and take that risk if you're going to lose money or not. Basically, I actually own it on my Steam library. I should reinstall it sometime.
I think
at the same time, I'm a little bit like the time has passed for Psychonauts. Like, what are they gonna do that's so great with Psychonauts 2 that they're
Well, Psychonauts exists in the same sort of realm as a Pixar movie or whatever. It's more like it's got cartoony personality and flair in the style of those old LucasArts adventure games. So, I mean, they appeal to, I think, a certain demographic as well. And, like, for me, like, we talked recently about games for your kids, and I'm not saying that Psychonauts is necessarily a kid's game because it's more complex, but it is nice having those games that you could play with, say, your 10, 11-year-old, and not just if you have games like Skylanders that are like really sort of kids games, and then you jump all the way to like teen games or mature games, there's sort of a gap there, and I feel like games like Psychonauts 2 could fill that gap a lot better.
Yeah, you're probably onto the right demographic for Psychonauts, but I don't know. I'm a little like unexcited by it, but that could just be being a curmudgeon. So,
well, if you played the first 3 levels of the first one, and you didn't like it, you're not the target audience for the second, obviously. So, and to be honest, I've only played normally this would be right in my wheelhouse, but I missed the first Psychonauts, so I am a little like behind on that. And as much as I want to get behind a lot of the Double Fine stuff, like I haven't played Broken Age yet. I haven't played the Grim Fandango remaster or any of those. So like I'm not as much as I like that they exist, I'm not playing them or buying them. So
many games, so little time. So yeah,
I was more of a Sierra boy anyway. If it was like Sierra games, maybe I'd be more keen. But
there's a new King's Quest.
And see, yeah, you know what? I don't have that yet. I should get that.
It doesn't look that interesting, unfortunately. It's just not the same. It's just
well, maybe not.
But who knows? Maybe you try it out and you like it. But it's very like updated, and it's just some stuff is better left in the past. Time is done. Yeah. So tell me about what is PlayStation experience?
Just before you do, before we close the door on Game Awards, I just wanted to mention a couple of other things real quick because they did this big tease for Rocket League, and I got really excited about it. A new announcement from the makers of Rocket League coming up about Rocket League, and I was like, oh, come on, please be something super awesome. And this winter, there's supposed to be like the hockey mode, which I'm excited about. But yeah, I thought, I don't know. Maybe it seems soon, but maybe they were going to hit when the iron was hot and announce Rocket League 2 or something, or they were just going to dump, like there's going to be a bunch of new types of arenas or whatever. But all it was an announcement that Rocket League is coming to Xbox One. And
I saw that. That was like such BS.
Yeah, because they did this giant cameras moving around, and I'm like, oh, Rocket League, oh, I'm so excited. And then it's like Rocket League coming to Xbox One.
That game is still like in the top sellers list on Steam without ever having to add barely anything to that game.
It's pretty tight. So yeah, there was other the VR stuff is starting to get announced, right? Because all the VR things are going to launch next year, and they need to have games to go with it. So they showed Rock Band VR. They had this big trailer where like Dragon Force was sort of training the guys to be rockers. It was kind of cute, but they showed the gameplay footage of the game, and bear in mind it's very difficult to convey VR stuff to people watching at home on a screen. You can see sort of like the controller on the screen, and the buttons would light up depending what you were hitting, and your guy could look around. And it makes sense, right? Because you're like on a stage in Rock Band, and you can look around and see the people next to you. Like, it's not complicated to make a VR experience out of that. But I remember looking at it and being like, that looks kind of lame.
Yeah, well, and here's why it looks lame. I've got more. First of all, if you're going for a sim, a Rockstar sim, the playing live experience is like not the most interesting part. I mean, it's the hookers and blow backstage, man. Not hookers, the groupies and blow. Where's that part of the simulator? Also, I have a Oculus Rift DK2, and I've tried. They have not only is there 3D gaming, but 3D video is a thing, right? And I've had one where I've been on a concert stage, on, I think it was a U2 or a Rolling Stones thing, something. It was very brief, where they had that positional camera where you could look around and be on stage. And I think people are going to want those experiences on a VR setting more than just playing a video game and pretending to play a guitar. Like, I think if you were given the choice, you'd want to spend your time viewing a concert right from the stage of your favorite band and be there for that immersive experience. So,
maybe that'll come, or I don't know, maybe.
Also, what makes Rock Band good is playing with friends, and like 5 people in a room with 5 VR headsets, just not going to happen unless they're super cheap. And
that's a good point, Bo. Yeah. That's a really good point.
The most fun I had was with you and Mike and all of our friends.
If you guys were all over, would I want to put on headsets and play with you? Like, Guitar Hero is more of a solo experience, though they've had band kits. Like, if it was Guitar Hero VR, but Rock Band is really based on the idea you're playing in a band with your buddies. Yeah. You're right, man. This is going to flop.
Yeah, completely. It's pretty stinky. Oh, and Palmer Luckey I kind of like that guy, but he's like so a perennial goofball. Like, he's such a dork. Like, there are dorks. Like, Bill Gates is a dork, but Palmer Luckey is a fucking dork. Oops, I guess he's a big dork. Like, it's.
But he owns it, and that's what's hilarious.
I'm not hating on him. It's just like you get what is it? Is it what Schadenfreude? No, what? There's a term for it when you feel.
Are you embarrassed for somebody else?
Yeah, you just kind of like, ooh, be cooler, man.
And go out with Cliffy B. Maybe he can teach you something, or
Cliffy B is the exact opposite. You feel like, man, that guy's cool, even though he's kind of dorky.
I want to hang out with Cliffy B.
I want to be Cliffy B. I don't want to be Palmer Lucky.
So the PlayStation experience, to answer your question earlier that I rudely cut off, was it's an event a la Nintendo Directs and stuff, where they where PlayStation just focuses on announcing some of the upcoming things. I really expected they were going to have jack shit to announce. Not only have they announced a lot this year, like there's been a lot, not just not just E3, but they had like right after Gamescom they had something as well. They keep announcing stuff, and but they had a ton of stuff, and they announced all their PlayStation VR, a lot of the launch stuff, including Rez in VR. And Rez is like this game that is a super niche cult game, but I just happened to have played it. It was for Dreamcast originally, and they did a PS2 version, I think. But people who are really into beats and music, i.e. not me, love that game so much. Like, they say the tactile feeling, like, it came at one point in Japan with a vibrator women could get, like, and play Rez, and it would vibrate and stuff like that.
What?
Like, 'cause yeah.
With, like, a genital vibrator?
Well, you can use it wherever you want.
Not a feedback controller. Like, you're talking about, like, sex toy.
Yes, I am.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, the Japanese thing makes sense. Maybe racial stereotype, but face it, you sell girls' underwear in dispensers in your country.
Yeah. You should Google.
You need to own that generalization. But wow.
So anyway,
okay.
They're doing the VR.
I want to play Rez
version.
now. I'm just gonna go buy this.
Yeah, they're going to do a VR version. Probably if you get the vibrator as well, it'll give you a total experience, total package. Ubisoft has an Eagle Flight game, which kind of looks like it's more of a tech demo than a game, really. It's like you're flying over Paris, and except that Paris has had no humans. It's like post-apocalyptic, 200 years, like grass has grown over the Eiffel Tower type stuff of Paris. And you could play it cooperatively with friends, and like you could all, I don't know, there's like eagle shit that you do. I don't know, poop on a statue. I'm not sure. There is gameplay mechanics, but that's the total sort of experience tailor-made for VR that kind of gets me excited. Gollum is another one. Looks like a game you play as a slow-moving golem. I don't know. Didn't get me excited, but who knows? Maybe it looks like it's made as a unique VR experience. So a lot of these will come to Oculus Rift as well. Like I think Eagle Flight is going to for sure. So it's just, but PlayStation wants to announce them for their proprietary VR stuff.
Well, yeah,
so
it's like they're competing on another industry essentially with the PlayStation, because Valve has one and Oculus has one, and someone's going to be the victor in all of this,
It's possible. It's just in the console space. There's really, like, unless you've got a Steam box, which let's face it, nobody does. You're either PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox. And the only one that is like, while Xbox and Oculus, there's talk and stuff, like PlayStation is going full tilt with this pretty soon. So I feel like they have a better chance than I had originally thought. I'm still going to get an Oculus because I have a super pimping PC now. But if they have enough exclusives, maybe I get the PlayStation experience as well because I'm mad loaded with cash.
Yeah, it would depend on the exclusives, because like some of the great experiences are not like the packaged retail stuff, but the tech demo stuff that you can get, and you can only get that stuff on PC. You can't get it on a controlled environment. So,
well, like when all these things hit retail, there's got to be games, and that's what they're starting to announce.
There will be games, but there's always, like, because it's such an experimental phase, there'll still be lots of unofficial stuff, and you're only going to get that on PC. Like that's
you mean porn, don't you? You're talking about porn, right?
Porn, snuff videos.
Yeah, okay, like, that took a dark turn, but yeah.
Well, like, do you want to find out what it's like to fall off a cliff? Like, I want to see get these 3D experiences.
Just go bungee jumping.
You remember the movie Strange Days? Like you can, what is it like to hold up a liquor store? Like you can get that VR experience maybe. Like you want to get the PC headset of these two choices, because you're going to not only be able to enjoy the retail stuff, but you'll be able to enjoy some of the experimentation that the VR community is going to do.
You sound like the Purple Man and Jessica Jones. You're like, you will get the headset, and you will like it.
I haven't seen Jessica Jones, so I don't get it, but
it's super awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving past the VR stuff, they already showed Final Fantasy VII Remake gameplay footage, and this blows my mind because when they announced it at E3, they mentioned multiple times that they had pretty much not started and that they were just like gauging. So that has got to have been bullshit, because there's no way they got from not started to having not just like cinematics but like full gameplay in the space of like what, 6 or 7 months.
Yeah,
but
hang on, it looks
I was
like
gonna ask you if you'd seen it.
I did watch it just an hour before the show, and my initial impression was that it looked like the Final Fantasy 13 engine with just like skins that resemble Final Fantasy 13 business, Final Fantasy 7, but it looked like the 13 engine. Having played 13, and I've started playing 13 too, and I'm looking forward to playing Lightning Returns. It looks like that engine and that stuff. So like they're probably working on something new for 15, and we're getting the Final Fantasy 13 engine. Like
maybe it's the 15 engine, and we just haven't seen enough of 15.
Sure. The reason why I say it is just like specifically the hair. Like a lot of it just looks like that game to me. So I don't know. It's 15
what do you think?
Is too much of a question mark. Well, there's a lot of nods. First of all, the song they played was amazing. It's that
yeah, it was fucking sweet.
Yeah, like that made me like there's something about the art direction and the music in that game in particular that has been very resonant and iconic of a time in gaming. And so I think it's going to be worth playing just for all them feels, all them Final Fantasy VII feels, even if it's like, kind of janky and not their top tier product. Like it still would be a good quality product, it looks like. But what I hope about it is that Final Fantasy VII was vast and expansive in terms of the amount of territory. Like it's a giant world map, giant Midgard section took a long time. There's so much there, and their entries of late have been very linear and small comparatively, like in terms of world size. So I worry that the remake version shrinks, and that's not really a remake in my view in a positive way. But
well, let's hope it doesn't, because if anything, watching Cloud sort of duck under debris and walk through there, it seemed like they had expanded maybe Midgar. I'm hoping, and because you're going to be able to go all around and stuff, it looked like an action combat style that maybe it will be even larger. Like I want to be optimistic. The one thing I will say is that when you're doing a remake of a game that already exists, you pretty much have two ways you can do it. You can do it exactly the same with nicer graphics, or you can reinvent it or reimagine it. And that's obviously the angle that they have taken here. And the more I think about it, the more I think that's the right call. And I think that because you're really trying to get new gamers at this point. I don't think anything's going to recapture the same sort of feeling we had when we first played Final Fantasy VII. So you want new gamers, and like the stuff that we were tolerant of back then, we're just not tolerant of anymore. I think of like, when Final Fantasy X came out, and it was the first Final Fantasy with voice acting, people were like, oh shit, voice acting, but if you read the little dialogue boxes and look at the English translation of Final Fantasy VII, it's horrendous. Like if you actually like read it and performed it like a play or something, it was like, and our tolerance for that stuff was way lower or higher. We didn't care. It was a good story. Whenever we got into it, we didn't mind that it was kind of everybody is acting super goofy and Barrett's going boom 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 with his gun and everyone's acting like cartoon characters. That didn't bother us so much. But nowadays, people are looking for more immersiveness, more realism. So I thought that the video excited me in that they had the characters talk a lot more, flesh out a lot of stuff, facial reactions and all that.
They did have a scene where 20 people are shooting at a cloud and somehow missing.
That's amazing. I love those. Like, that's to me like Dragon Ball Z style, like super Japanese superhero type fantasy. I love that stuff. So I was cool. I was cool with a lot of that. But that said, I realize I mentioned earlier I didn't play all those LucasArts games remade. I will play Final Fantasy VII, or at least I'll give it a try. But I just feel like you said it. There's so many new game experiences. It's tough. Like, I see this remake and I'm like, yeah, it's going to be good, but I've played that game before. I played it multiple times before, like with shittier graphics. And
it was at the moment in time that you played it, it was an important part of your life as a gamer. It meant something.
It still is. Like, the music is a huge thing. Like I listened to Final Fantasy VII music.
I bought not the remake, just the re-release on Steam, and I've played a bit of it, but it's, at the end of the day, you spend like 5-6 hours playing, and you're like, could I be doing something else? Like, this is fun, but I just don't want to go through the whole 80-hour campaign. So I don't think a fresh coat of paint necessarily I don't think those games were, personally, I don't find them the most compelling RPGs to play. And I play Final Fantasy 13. It's like Square Enix, that Final Fantasy gameplay is very basic to me now. And I enjoyed it for a long time, but I can't go back and play it and get the same satisfaction. Like, I need a more Skyrim or more Dragon Age style game, RPG-wise, to sort of feel satisfied gameplay-wise. And even now, it's hard to play Final Fantasy 13 too because of how simple it is. So Final Fantasy 7 is also going to be simple in terms of the literal game mechanics you're using. Hopefully a younger generation will be into it, and that'll be happy for them. But
I agree with a lot of what you said there. I'll probably give it a go, and I'll get aboard the hype train when it comes out and all that sort of shit.
Also, they better do Knights of the Round. Like, if they skimp out on the materia system and then they don't have Knights of the Round, so you can do it 8 or 16 times or whatever the amount of that all needs to be in this remake. Like, those awesome
that's something summons. I could see the summons being there, but that craziness where you're fighting the weapons and you have a ridiculous amount of kind of combos that you could do and all that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that'll work.
That would make me play it. If there was awesome summon animations like they have for Final Fantasy 13, I'd be super into.
There will be for sure.
I'd be super into seeing all that stuff.
Moving on from Final Fantasy VII, and this is I was watching the trailers at PlayStation Experience, and there was a lot of VR stuff, and I'm excited about VR. Final Fantasy VII, I'm excited about Final Fantasy VII. But then there's a couple of new properties, and I didn't really expect this late in the year there to be big announcements. But one is this game, I think it's pronounced Nioh, Nioh. It's a samurai game from Team Ninja, the makers of Ninja Gaiden. I love Ninja Gaiden, the remake on Xbox, and Ninja Gaiden 2 on Xbox 360. Those games, the play is just total thumb candy for me. I really enjoyed them. And I looked at this trailer, and honestly, I could not give a shit about the title or whatever, but I watched the video, and it was clearly Ninja Gaiden inspired, if not a direct spiritual successor. And I got excited. I was like, man, I want to play that game, and so that's definitely now on my must-watch list. So I am definitely excited for this. And the other announcement was we talked recently about Epic and what they were working on and what sort of games. Well, it turns out it's a giant MOBA called Paragon, done in the Epic super detailed graphic style. Looks pretty neat if you like MOBAs, and it's it's more graphically intensive third person, you're right in there in the action because it's coming out on PS4 obviously. So it
is a third person game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've seen this new updated stuff. I've seen the new designs, but I haven't seen the I guess there's a trailer now.
Yeah. It was I can't tell if it was any of it was. I think some of it was gameplay, but a lot of it looked like crazy cinematic stuff. it was people doing their super moves and like this girl archer shooting 8 guys in the head, and then this guy picking up this giant rock. They all look a bit like a super improved graphics version of the style of graphics in a game like Warframe. There's even a ninja guy who looks kind of like a Warframe dude. Like there seems to be MOBAs are a thing now. I haven't really played any MOBAs, so for me, the interest level when Epic was getting out a new game, I'm like, oh, it's a MOBA. I'm sort of.
So this is like basically like what Battleborn is. I'm just sort of watching it now and getting a quick sense from the trailer. If it is indeed a MOBA, like but first person style. Or third-person style. Smite is a third-person existing MOBA right now. I mean, it's just crazy how these companies are all rehashing. I just would not expect this from a company like Epic, that tends to make standout original games. And what I'm seeing looks very like samey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot of talented people working on your products, and it looks amazing, but. Like I don't want to I want like innovation.
I think the reality is that it's the same with those free to play games and how everybody would make the next Candy Crush saga. League of Legends is the one game made by Riot Games. Like all they made this one game with one level. They put out these heroes and print money. That's all they do. They print money. And then Dota.
They have their own television. Like they have their esports scene is self-managed. They don't.
That's great for them, but they don't have to do much in terms of game development.
The game development is very simple, but they also have their business is all around that game too. Where like Blizzard, they have their own competition, but they rely on ESL and other third-party organizers to help organize competitions. Where Riot is very like we do all of our own stuff.
If you told me that I just had to make one game with one level and like say 30 heroes, now it's a ridiculous amount, and they just do deathmatch in that level, and then I get $1 billion. I mean, I would be like, that's a sweet model. Like, and I think I'm not saying that Paragon from Epic is going to break through what's becoming a saturated market, but it's clearly the risk to reward there is they've decided that it's worth doing, right?
Yeah,
just like Blizzard did with Heroes.
The opposite is like, let's make Witcher 4 work, spend a bunch of money doing it, take a huge risk, like you said, and it takes like 5 years, and like maybe it's great, and Witcher was great, but maybe it flops, maybe it's a great game, but for whatever reason, the climate of the marketplace is such that no one's interested in your game because they're all playing League or whatever.
Speaking of which, and this is a total switch out of PlayStation experience, but you just segued perfectly into this. Rise of the Tomb Raider came out same day this year as Fallout 4. Exact, exclusively timed exclusive on Xbox One. It's going to come out on PC at the beginning of next year, and then on PS4 at the end of next year. Supposedly, the sales have been abysmal, like pretty bad. The UK's released some numbers there, but even like in North America, it's been bad. Now the Xbox One doesn't. I don't even think has half the sales of the PS4, and then you're releasing a cornerstone game on the same day that the most anticipated game of the year, possibly in Fallout, comes out. So I have a friend, as I mentioned in a previous show, who's worked hard on this game. It's gotten a lot of great reviews, and let's face it, it's going to make some money next year on PS4 and on PC. But you only have one chance to make a first impression, and despite the amazing reviews it's getting, it's just like Microsoft sent it out to the slaughter against Fallout. Like, it's unfortunate, and it's exactly the type of. There's not enough room for everyone at the same time. The next week was Star Wars Battlefront. So people bought Fallout, and they bought Star Wars the next week. They had no time or no money left for Tomb Raider, right? And it's too bad because that's the type of game I like. I like those games.
Tomb Raider looked like a quality product. It's not getting the fate it deserves, but.
Same Metacritic score as Fallout.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of there's only so many game choices, and the choice there is limited because you have to be an Xbox owner, and Xbox. Like Phil Spencer was out there saying like, yeah, we could have probably done a bit better with Xbox. A little while ago, he was out there saying we learned less. There's some lessons we had to learn, and we're hearing our audience. And I guess Tomb Raider's a casualty. They probably want to back out of that deal this whole time and just couldn't. Like.
I don't think they paid a chunk of money to make it a timed exclusive, so I'm sure Eidos and Square are not hurting.
It can't be that worth it, though, right?
I don't know. I don't think sales of the 2013 game were enough to justify a sequel without that exclusivity agreement. And that's what I had heard at one point.
They had also released a definitive edition at some point too. Like the Tomb Raider stuff's been kind of sloppy because the first one was a timed exclusive, and then it came out as the re-released to some hype as a definitive edition with better hair effects and stuff. But yeah,
essentially that definitive edition was like they just released the PC version on high settings on the PS4 because the PS3 and Xbox couldn't take it, Right. So it's funny.
So I wonder if we'll see something similar this time around. Yeah, have you heard about... So you own Metal Gear Solid 5. Have you heard about this nuclear disarmament event?
No.
So apparently there's a secret event in the Phantom Pain, and it has to do with like nuclear disarmament. I guess you can get nukes, and then you disarm it, and then what Konami's trying to do is trying to get all the players who play Metal Gear Solid to disarm the warhead, the nukes, in an effort to say, hey, look, world, the players can get together and disarm nukes. Maybe the world can all disarm their nukes too, I think. They're keeping track of it anyway. Cheesy. They're keeping track of it and publishing the numbers. So if you own that game and you're into it. So one of the interesting things was that, what is this? Okay. The most recent count of nuclear weapons per platform was posted at some point when this article was released. So like Xbox 360, there's only 31 nukes. Xbox One, there's only 44 nukes. And PlayStation 3 has 135. PlayStation 4 has 165. In Steam, there are 10,450 active nukes. So PC players are real dickholes, not disarming their nukes. Yeah.
So what you're saying, that those aren't the total nukes; those are the ones that are left to be disarmed.
Yeah, that's right. So the goal, I think, is 0. So and so as of November 1, PC players had amassed 36,000 warheads, and so they've reduced 2/3 of the nukes in distribution. So the idea is that they all get disarmed by the player base. But
well, I'm about to jump in there, Bo. Maybe I'll disarm the 10,000 remaining myself.
Yeah, or maybe you'll add some and be an evil dictator. Because you like nukes. But anyways, it's a thing, so you should keep an eye out for that when you play Metal Gear Solid. I saw another little curio on the internet as well. Verizon's building a cell phone network in Minecraft that can contact the outside communications network. The idea being you've got your phone and you call your mom on the regular phone network to tell you love her while you're playing Minecraft. Or she texts you that dinner is ready and you can go upstairs and eat dinner in Minecraft. I have to be honest, I don't get Minecraft anymore. I'm like, what is going on in Minecraft that people can make cell phones in it? It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad. Minecraft still remains a part of my gaming knowledge. That maybe when Gwen is old enough, she'll be into that. But and I'll be supportive. But I just have not been. I've lost that creative mojo necessary for that stuff.
When she's playing that game, it might look like she's just slaughtering the Endermen or whatever. She might actually be programming the newest engine that will, revolutionize the world. Like, who knows what people get up to in this freaking thing?
She probably will. She's very smart.
You can program a cell phone in Minecraft, a Lego game. It's crazy. So
she figured out how to blow her nose today. If she can do that, she's well on her way to building an in-game Minecraft cell phone network.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that happened in Minecraft. I don't know what that is. In other news, you can play XCOM in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Just Google, what is it? EXL COM, C-O-M, And basically, you'll get a spreadsheet wherein you can play the original XCOM. And the reason why I included this, Crofton, is because you're a big fan of the original XCOM. Even before Enemy Unknown was a thing, you'd be like, man, I like XCOM. XCOM's great. So I put a little mention of this in here just for you. So
I wonder
you have Excel on your work computer, so you can actually get away with playing XCOM.
I wonder if that would work on my work computer, said everybody ever. But the thing is, yeah, like my work blocks they block 3 things, like game, pornography, anything to do with like social media, except for me because I'm in comms, and they block anything to do with video games. So,
well, can't you bring this in on a flash drive? It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's like 10K or something like that in space.
No way. It's got to be bigger than that to have XCOM in it. It's got to be like 5 megs or something.
Well, okay. So, flash drives come in like denominations of gigs, tens of gigs, so you could probably get this into your...
I wonder if I can save my game.
Sure, why not? Anyways, it's there for you if you need your XCOM itch at work. PlanetSide 2 getting a base building system. Croft and I are big PlanetSide fans, and I've actually logged in a couple times this week and couldn't play for more than 5 minutes.
Why?
There's so much going on in that game right now, like so many like numbers and things. That's PlanetSide music. There's so much going on in there that I feel overwhelmed because I'm out of the loop on it now. You can buy Spitfire turrets for your engineer in the
sweet, like PlanetSide 1.
Yeah, like there's new stuff there, but I just haven't been able to just sit and play.
You have to dedicate. It's an MMO. You have to dedicate yourself to those games, right? You can't just take a step in and then expect to know everything.
Yeah, it just felt like there's a lot going on, and Hassan doesn't make any sense to me, the new continent. But apparently now they're going to be releasing these base building kits where you'll be able to like put up walls, bunker turrets, and a base core, and it can generate victory points for your army. This is another new thing. There's victory points in the game now. I don't understand how they work.
That all sounds good.
But the structures can be built anywhere, and they take time and resources to erect. That's what he said. So and apparently there's turrets, and there's, apparently there's turrets and things of that nature, and it's just like you can put a base into the map. So I think this is a good direction for PlanetSide 2.
Can you put a base in the map, or can you just make edits to an existing base, like put up a wall or put up
You put up your own base.
Okay.
You literally create your own structure.
So does it terraform? That's complicated, man. For a video game to do that, like I worked on a video game with terraforming, and that was crazy.
So it says it's prefabbing. I didn't watch there's a live stream where they featured it. It's like an hour long. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but in the article, it's just like their goal is a full base building system. So I don't know if you'll be able to, like, when the geometry is weird. You're talking about like, if it's in a mountainside, how does a base fit in a mountainside?
Right.
I'm not sure. I feel like there's going to be designated zones where bases can go, maybe.
Yeah, that must be.
Like
I tell you, I hope that they maintain a sizable player base. When I leave a game like that I really enjoy, but like I just don't want to play it right now, I always worry because it lives and dies on its player base, and I always worry that it's going to, vanish.
Yeah, I feel like this game might have just missed its time, and we need to be thinking about another iteration of PlanetSide.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No.
Although I didn't think PlanetSide 2 was going to happen either.
I felt like this game was half-baked from the get-go, and it still has that feeling to me. It feels like a lot of the basics are still not in this game in a good degree. But I like the idea. I like that still PlanetSide 2 is a thing, and I thought it was worth mentioning that base building in any MMO game is pretty cool. A lot of the Minecraft style games like Rust and Ark and stuff feature building of structures. So
I hate that shit, but I'm glad some people like it.
Yeah, but I'm sort of in the PlanetSide 2 version. It's basis for blowing up and for combat, not for like making these meticulous things out of either, which is cool. All right, We're not at the end of the news yet. Man, it's been a long news section, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So Mark Cuban, you know the Mark Cuban guy? He's a rich guy. He's on Shark Tank. He owns the Utah. No, who does he own? He owns some basketball team that's really big. He defends esports, notably because I believe it was on ESPN. It was on some stream, anyways. Because, anyways, there are people who have been kind of pooping on esports, like traditional sports people. So, Mark Cuban is lending his weight, I suppose. And what happened was he dropped an F-bomb on a broadcast for esports and got fined $15,000. And then there was this PR event where he came out and dropped another F-bomb and got fined another $15,000. But it was all in the name of saying, fuck it, esports are amazing. So anyways, that happened. Mark Cuban's pro esports.
I actually saw it was on Reddit, and I saw it. It was more the second 15 was like he was told at the end when his team won or whatever. He was up and he was told by the host she had to inform him that he's being charged $15,000 fine or whatever for dropping an F-bomb and that it would go to charity and all that. And then he's like, so if I drop another F-bomb right now, will it go to charity? And she's like, yes. And he's like, well, fuck it then, or whatever. And everybody cheered big time or whatever. So
that was awesome.
Yeah. Mark Cuban's got a lot of swagger. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's just nice to see somebody I wouldn't think be associated with esports come out and say something positive and be on the side of esports. Legitimizing it. Did you know you could win $1 million, Crofton, right now?
Yes.
Do you know what you
I
have to
saw
do?
it on the Game Awards.
Yeah. Oh, well, on the Game I didn't see it on the Game Awards. This is news to me. You can log into the Elder Scrolls Online for a chance to win $1 million. So, just go play it, and maybe you'll win.
They're drawing a name of all the players who log in between like now and January 10th or something. This is like such a transparent attempt to be like, hey, go play our game, and there's one slight chance you'll win $1 million. But on the other hand, you'll get addicted to our game and then be giving blowjobs in an alley to pay for your monthly subscription. I'm not sure if it has a monthly subscription. I assume so. I will say that the odds of that of winning that lottery are probably a lot better than winning a lot of other lotteries. Like when you think about it, there's probably how many people tops play that are going to log in? Maybe like 3 million tops.
Well, it is worldwide, so you've got like Finland, France, Germany, Mexico, Russia.
I think 3 million log in. So let's say you have 1 in 3 million chance. I know that sounds ridiculously like a bad chance, but it's way better than winning the normal lottery.
I thought Elder Scrolls was free to play.
Is it? I might be.
It isn't. I went on Steam now. It still wants to charge me $69.99.
Yeah.
I thought it was free to play.
You could win $1 million, Bo.
Yeah. Well, now I'm not. Because I was thinking, I should just log in for 10 minutes and just do the first few missions, and then. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that could happen. It'd be better than just sitting here and not doing it. But if I'm not going to spend $70 to do it.
I have a buddy who's really into contests. He could take you under his wing if you want to get into the contest racket. But trust me, it's a slippery slope, Bo, one that leads to darkness.
No, screw contests. Anyways, and screw Elder Scrolls, man. This is dumb. It's great to give away money, I guess, but it makes your game sound awful.
Oh, sorry, Bo. Wait, I'm just getting a call here. Just 1 sec. Hello? Yes? Todd Howard? Yes, I'll accept the charges. He's what? Dumb? Fucktard? No, I'm sorry, I can't say that on the air. Yeah. Okay. I'll relay the message. See you, Todd. Okay, bye. Yeah, that was Todd Howard from Bethesda Games. He just called to say hi. He said hi, Bo.
That's all you had to say to me?
That's all he said.
I thought I heard something about an F-tard.
He said nothing else.
Yeah, well, Todd Howard, I bet you it's not his fault. I bet you he doesn't like it. That's what I think. I think somebody's bribing him, manipulating him. He's being exploited.
Sorry, Bo. I just got another call. Hello? Oh, yeah, hi, Todd. Yeah, I'll accept the charges. Yes, no. Oh, you're fully aware. You're fully aware of it. It was your idea. That's interesting. I don't. Okay, you're gonna send me a bill. Okay. All right. Thanks. I'll tell him. Bye. So Todd says hi again. He also says that he's going to send me some sort of bill for defamation. I don't know what that is.
Well, you kept saying you'll accept the charges, but like I'm sure he's got a good long distance plan where he doesn't have to.
I don't know. Collect. Why does he always call collect? It's really annoying.
You just got charged for 2 copies of Elder Scrolls Online because the only way Todd Howard and Co. can make money is by selling it on the phone to unwitting people who answer the call.
Well, you know what? Even if I did own it, I would permanently remove it from my Steam library.
Oh, Master Seg.
Because you can now do that. You can permanently remove games from your Steam library. And I guess that the idea behind that is that, sometimes you buy these bundles. Sometimes there's games that are free to play and they're just added in your library. I guess it was like that whole controversy over that U2 album they gave away for free and it went into people's libraries and they're like, oh my god, I gotta delete it because U2's too awesome for my musical taste. But now it's the same deal. It's like Steam is saying you can now permanently remove these games and it's like you never owned them.
Yeah, I find this a little bit
dumb,
worrisome.
stupid.
Well, because I did pay for it.
No, but you're choosing to do it.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just sometimes I'm like, I'd want to remove that, but then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't remove it because maybe 5 years from now I'll be happy it's in my Steam account. So
you could remove Duke Nukem Forever from your library,
but I paid $70 for that. That's not going anywhere. That's staying in my goddamn account.
Think about it as decluttering. I guess if there's some games you look at your library, you're like, I literally will never ever play this game again.
If for some reason I want it again, I'll have to pay for it again.
Yeah, but you pick the
that
ones
license
that you
is all I've got, and I get what you're saying. And for people who want to do that stuff, great. But
here, I'll give you an example. I bought the entire Tomb Raider pack one time. Okay. When the new Tomb Raider came out. So it came with Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, The Last Revelation, Chronicles, Tomb Raider 6, The Angel of Darkness, Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Underworld, and the new remade Tomb Raider. I bought it for the new remade Tomb Raider, and for $2 extra, you got every Tomb Raider that existed or whatever. So I look at that, and I know for a fact that I will not play those games. I might play the newest ones like Legend or Underworld, but Angel of Darkness, which was panned when it came out on PS2, there's no chance I'll ever play that game. So I could delete it right now. I'm a clutter nut, so of course I'm not going to delete it, but I could, and really it would make no difference. I'm never going to buy that game. It would just make my list easier to navigate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I can see the reason why to do it. I just, it's good. Yeah. It's a good feature. It's something that we need. It's better than not having it.
I would just make a hide feature. I guess,
Does that exist? I guess not.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think it does. Because I have, all these crappy little, nothing indie games that I bought on some indie sale that I'm just I don't even know what it is. Anyway. All right. Well, I think that covers all the news that's fit to print. At least.
Thank God. This is what happens when we take 2 weeks off.
Yeah. So we should just move on to the games per minute.
You're always talking about making kids' minds like vegetables. Talk about them out on the street smoking pot.
This is Games Per Minute.
How do you feel about cutting his head off? Fun.
All right. This is Games Per Minute, where we talk about the games we've been playing. Normally, I don't have a lot to talk about, but I do this week. But because we're pretty deep in, an hour and 15 minutes now into the show, we're going to try and keep it pretty brief, and maybe we can save some of this for following weeks. I played Heroes of the Storm, of course, as always. Now, I also got into the Overwatch the stress test weekend. So that was pretty exciting. I spent 2 14-hour days getting down all the Overwatch I could on that weekend.
Test that stress pretty good.
Yeah, I stressed the shit out of their servers, and that game is really fun. And actually, just this past Saturday, I marathoned Shadow Complex in a single day as well. So that's what. But apart from that, it's mostly been Heroes. But that's In the past 3 weeks, that's all I've played, really.
You're going to talk a lot more about Overwatch, I'm sure, moving forward. But I can't let this opportunity go by without asking a couple of questions. Did it feel like a first-person shooter? Like a competitive first-person shooter?
Yeah, so it feels like a first-person shooter. There's no aim-down sights, except for Widowmaker has a scope. It feels like... It's not quite a MOBA, because it feels more like a shooter. It has shooter mechanics. It's not MOBA-y. It's kind of unique. It feels like a hybrid of shooter and almost like action-adventure, where if you think of like how Batman has special abilities in the Arkham things... It's like you have a very limited pool of these, but each character has a unique kit.
But isn't that exactly what a MOBA is? You have your special abilities, and
yes, but MOBAs are very like stats driven, I suppose, and like this ability does 218 damage, this ability does 50, and this stuns. The abilities feel way more actiony, twitchy, and shootery than like I would describe MOBAs, even first-person or third-person shooters like Battleborn that try to be MOBAs. Like this, it really feels like shooter first, but with a MOBA sensibility in a weird way. Like there are tanks that do nothing but melee, like Reinhardt in this game, but it still feels like you're playing, I don't know, Borderlands. Like to me, the closest comparison is like Borderlands to this game.
I love Borderlands, and I could see me enjoying it. Honestly, it definitely appeals to me. I've tried to get into the beta or whatever. I'm sure I'll get in super soon because they'll see my name. But the thing is, it's like an actiony appeal. It has that actiony element that appeals to me that some of those other, like when you describe Heroes of the Storm as multiplayer Diablo. Well, I didn't even finish one campaign of single player or regular Diablo, so that style of game is not necessarily tickling my fancy, and I'm not lining up to play all the hottest first-person shooters, but it's not necessarily because I'm not interested in them, it's just because they're too hard to play. So Overwatch looks like easier to play, and then I'm not going to go on and get totally reamed by
it's 4 buttons. You got jump, you've got like...
Is there headshot damage?
Sure, yeah. It's really hard to hit with headshots because there's no aim-down sights, though. So while there is headshot damage, it's way too actiony for that kind of precision shooting. Like, it's more about using the abilities. So a good example is like, well, let's just go with Tracer, the iconic character. What you're trying to do is teleport around and be super annoying and shoot with your little guns, but you don't need to precision shoot. You just need to shoot. And then once your ultimate's charged up, you can put a bomb on somebody, stick it to them, and then rewind time and go back to where you were 5 seconds earlier, and the explosion happens and you're safe. Like, it's all about using their mechanics to get kills rather than, doing headshots. McCree, the cowboy character, it's high noon. When it's time for him to ultimate, he says, you can hear it's high noon, and you hear a hawk go, wah! And basically it's just a Red Dead Redemption. The reticles on anything you can see start to zoom in on people, and the smaller they zoom in, the more damage they do until they completely get small, and you can one-shot kill the whole enemy team if they're still within your vision. So it's very like, it's a hybrid of like action gaming, and shooters, and there isn't very many buttons. Yeah, like it's MOBAs, because the thing is with MOBAs is
it has MOBA elements.
The MOBAs can be very complicated, even though they're simple in terms of like some of the high skill cap characters, and even the tough ones are super easy to figure out and play. It's pretty cool. Accessible, and a lot of fun. And you can switch right in the middle of the match. If you play one character and you just want to switch, you just switch. Like, it's very easy to, you don't feel like you're ever committed into some bad decision in this game.
Nice. Yeah, no, it intrigues me. If I see a beta invite, I will get it on, and I think that'll be a Blizzard game I'll be getting fairly early in its life cycle.
Another little news item that came out just today too. Jeff Kaplan, the lead developer, did a developer diary, and he's saying that subsequent maps and heroes after the launch of the game will be free. So like it's going to launch with like 21 heroes and a bunch of maps. So if they add, more heroes, they're not going to charge for them.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah.
More like the Rocket League map model.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I played a lot of Rocket League lately since I got my computer back in. I'm doing ranked matches and enjoying it. I managed to finish 2 games since we last recorded. One is Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I'll talk about that in the future because I'm going to play the Phantom Pain next. And as we're sort of short on time this week, I really like the time to sort of unpack some of it because I definitely have some thoughts on that. The other game I played to completion was Tomb Raider, the 2013 version, and it was due to benchmarking. I was benchmarking the PC, and that was a game that I remember thinking, like, geez, I gave that game short shift because I tried to play it at graphical settings that were too high for my current PC, and that's why I didn't enjoy it as much as I could have. And I would say that playing it, I recognize that wasn't the case. It is a bit wonky in the way that it plays, and that's what was putting me off. But because I was sort of more accepting of what it is and what it wasn't, I enjoyed it a lot more. I consider it a good game, but not a great game. And I understand Rise of the Tomb Raider is much improved in many different ways, but like I didn't finish this game being like, oh, I can't wait to sign up to Lara Croft's next adventure. And I think my big issue with the game was that it took itself ridiculously seriously. And it's hard when a game takes itself so seriously. It's like a Batman Begins type vibe for Lara Croft. It's like she gets put through the ringer. She kills her first person, and then next thing you know, she's headshotting 100 dudes or whatever. And just the amount of things that happen to her are completely ridiculous. Most of the voice actors, other than Camilla Luddington, who plays Lara Croft, suck, to be fair. She's very good. They suck. Their characters suck for the most part. And so because of that, the game is held back on many levels, and it's too somber and depressing for what is essentially ridiculous events. And I'm not sure if you remember or ever played the first Tomb Raider, Bo, but she wears like these hot shorts and is doing like side flips shooting dinosaurs, Tomb Raider has always been ridiculous, and in this case they went super serious. Which is okay. Like, I think it helped to relaunch the franchise, but it's just they weren't able to deliver a Last of Us Uncharted quality story or characters, and that really hurts it. So the gameplay was good though, and it's much more open world than the Uncharted type games. Like, there are sections where you can explore. There are hidden elements. There's gear that you upgrade.
Puzzles in the game too, right?
Yeah, there are puzzles. Not a ton of them, and like you do get new tools and you upgrade your tools. There's a light upgrading component, skills, tools, and all that. Just enough to keep you going on. And because my expectations were lower, I enjoyed it a lot more. And also it helped that I had nice shiny graphics. Everything up to ultra, woo! But at the same time, I just felt like when it was done, I was like, that was good. I wanted to keep playing it and stuff until I finished it, but it wasn't great. Like, had it come out 10 years ago, it would have been great. But now with the advances that we've had, and coming off a game like The Witcher 3, it's just like the maturity level in storytelling and all that sort of stuff. It's just so much higher there than it is in this game. And so this game, if it was a movie, would be like a B direct-to-DVD movie like Anaconda or something.
Okay.
Actually,
damn. It sounds like Witcher 3 kind of ruined you.
It's definitely made me less tolerant of some things. And, I'm now going into Metal Gear Solid, and I am definitely going to be playing it in the shadow of The Witcher 3. So
you're going to love all the fourth wall breaking in the Metal Gears. Push the D-pad to use the rocket launcher, Snake.
Yeah, it's just like the not to go too much into Ground Zeroes, but the story stuff in Metal Gear Solid, I just don't have the time of day for anymore. Like, the gameplay, supposedly the Phantom Pain is all gameplay, and I'm looking forward to that. But if it was story, I would not play it because the story is so bad and so heavy-handed, and it's like the one thing that made me laugh was, I'm not sure if you heard, but Kiefer Sutherland replaced David Hayter as the voice of Snake, and Kiefer Sutherland for me will always be Jack Bauer from 24, and So it sounds like his voice kind of works like for a gruff big boss. He sounds awesome, but the lines that he delivers are like translated from Japanese, and they're all really. A lot of them are really cheesy. A lot of what Snake says is ridiculous or whatever. And hearing Kiefer Sutherland say it is hilarious. Like I'm like, how can he say? Because he's like the last actor I could imagine saying these things. But he's like, what does war mean to any of us anyway? It is the blah 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 that brings us together. Like some sort of heavy-handed Kojima message. Anyway, it's really funny. Although the urgent scenes where he's like, let's go, we're under attack and all that. I'm like, man, he sounds like Jack Bauer. That's super awesome. And he really lends like urgency to those scenes. I thought he did a good job, although he doesn't have much to say. So whatever. And I'm sure the David Hayter fans will hate me for saying that he did a good job, but whatever.
That's fine. I think David Hayter probably wants to move on and do other things too.
I think he wants Metal Gear back. He'd be like, take me back, please, Kojima. It's funny how now that everybody's victimizing Kojima with the Konami stuff, they've all forgotten how Kojima pretty much kicked David Hayter in the nutsack and threw him to the side to replace him with Kiefer, And Jade Raymond at the Game Awards had a sweet diss at Kiefer where she was like, she was doing the best voice award winner, best acting in a game, and she said it's hard to imagine your favorite characters without some of their voice actors, and she's like Mario and Charles Martinet or David Hayter in Solid Snake or whatever. Like it was like Kiefer Sutherland was there. It was like a slam. The camera cut to him. It was a slam to his face. I was like, that's awesome. Good on you, Jade Raymond. But that's it.
Way to make
awesome.
Kiefer feel welcome.
That's hilarious. Kiefer's awesome. I like him, even though he's a drunk. So I'll talk more about Metal Gear Solid in the future. I wish I could have talked more about Tomb Raider. Maybe I'll go back to it again. But it was a good but not great game. That's my review. 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Did I talk about Shadow Complex?
You just said that you played it over a weekend. You like it?
I played it on Saturday as well. Not to just, it was really good. It was really short, I found. But
it's an Xbox Live Arcade game. It's
exactly. It was, we covered it a bit earlier. It was free, so I downloaded it because I missed it on Xbox Live, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I found the combat a little awkward, but I appreciated what they were trying to do. And I like that sense of going back, and I got 100% map reveal, 100% item collection.
Wow, you must have liked it enough then.
Yeah, it was. I like labyrinths, and I think specifically I like the 2D labyrinths over the 3D ones.
Yeah, me too. I love those Metroidvanias in 2D.
The 3D ones are always like stuff's really hidden and hard to find when they're putting like the secrets everywhere. But 2D is very like manageable and casual, and I think I really enjoyed Shadow Complex.
How did the graphics hold up in that game? I remember thinking at the time they were super sick, but that was years ago.
It's a remastered edition, but still, it looked kind of, it's kind of poopy. His story's poopy, although it doesn't have to be good for a game like this. And, the graphics they were okay. Like it did a good enough job conveying what the world building was about, and what I really liked was that a lot of the rooms felt unique and told a story about how they fit into the Shadow Complex, like what there's barracks and there's factory rooms, so it never felt like there was any repetition, like another type of room like this. It all felt very unique, which was a big plus actually for a game like this.
One thing I'll say about that game too is like, in those Metroidvania games you get pieces of gear that allow you to go to different places and all that sort of shit. Yeah. Well, I don't think I've ever played one where you are more different from the beginning at the end than you are in this one. Like you get so, like at the beginning you're just like this dude with a backpack and I don't think you even have a pistol. Like you get that, you just climb through a couple of vents, you get a pistol or whatever, and that's like you're a little dude with a pistol. But then at the end you're like in this kitted out super suit going like super fast, shooting bumblebee beams and all sorts of shit.
You got
Like I remember at the end,
and it's you are pretty decked out, and I've got super armor. Because there's that secret. You got to get 12 key cards to get the secret armor in the bottom of the base.
Yeah, I got that. I actually got that. I think I may have 100%ed that as well.
It's not hard to 100% that one. Like, it wasn't that bad.
But it's like, do you go back after the story is over to 100% it, or do you have to do it before you?
I did it all ahead of time, mainly because I wanted to find all the key cards. And to find the key cards, you just got to go to all the question marks and see if it's a key card. And oddly enough, I had everything but one key card. And the reason I couldn't find it was because if you're on a square tile that has a question mark and you find something and it turns it into a dot, meaning you've cleared it, if there's a second hidden item in that square, the map won't tell you. So I actually spent a really long time trying to find that last freaking key card because there were no question marks on my
Is that
map.
a bug?
I don't know if it's a bug, but it's like a thing. And so I had to actually look up online where it was. That was the one item I had to look up.
If we sold T-shirts for the show, yours would say "It's a thing." Like, you say it's a thing. So I guess that's a thing. It's a thing now. It's a thing. It's a Bo Schwartz. It's a thing.
And you'll just get a Witcher 3 shirt if it's free.
It'll be like me filleting Geralt from The Witcher 3.
I just came for one quick game of Gwent.
Yeah, I'm like Gwent addict.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's too bad. Yeah, we had a loaded show. We told people off the top, but I
enjoyed Shadow Complex. If it's free, and even if it wasn't, if it's on for cheap, I give it a big. I recommend if you like Metroidvanias, that's a worthwhile thing to still try.
Yeah, for sure. It's on now my list of games. Now I realize I have a timer because I spent like $100 on games on Black Friday. So I got Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, got Phantom Pain. I got this. I'm a sucker for zombie games. I got this. What is it called? It came out in January of last year. The parkour zombie game, Dying Light. That's it.
Yeah.
Dying Light. I bought that, and I bought. There's a couple other games, but I also got with the computer the Assassin's Creed Syndicate as well. So Shadow Complex came out in for free in this deluge of games that I've got. But if now that I know I have a timer to play it for free, I might dip my toe back in before it's gone. Because I thought I just had to download it, and that was that, right? So. All right, so no dialogue tree this week. God knows we've talked a lot. What is next is where we answer the question, spend your cash or vendor trash. It is inventory management.
Inventory management is a challenging and inexact science.
Yeah, so like you said, it's inventory management, where we tell you to spend your cash or vendor trash.
That is what I said.
Yeah, it's what you said, but I wanted to say it too because it rhymes and it's been like 3 weeks, so we have to introduce and explain everything 5 times. That's like 20% of our show time.
It's true.
Crofton, what's your recommendation or unrecommendation this week?
So my recommendation comes out of that Team Ninja game, the samurai game I mentioned earlier. My recommendation is Ninja Gaiden Black. Now you can get Ninja Gaiden came out on the original Xbox, formerly known as the Xbox One. Now just Xbox, I guess. And they did even a remaster of the remake later in the cycle, and it was called Ninja Gaiden Black. And then when it came out for the PS3, they had like Ninja Gaiden Sigma, whatever. And they've just continued to do that. There's a version on the Vita. The last one I played was on the original Xbox. It was Ninja Gaiden Black, and I replayed it on the Xbox 360. And honestly, like, it has sick controls. And it's a game that is hard, and there's been talk about how hard the Ninja Gaiden games are, and it is hard, but you get good at it, and you learn how to play it, and you learn how to manage your enemies, and it's just like, I think in many ways games like Bloodborne are its spiritual successor. But Ninja Gaiden, just the freedom of movement, the stuff that you could do, the different weapons, the combos. The story was so horrible. It was hilarious. Although it was one of those games where like all the women have huge breasts and all this, like you could definitely there's some huge issues with it, huge issues. But
You're abusing
overall,
yourself over there.
but overall, it's a sick game. It's one that I know holds up really well.
Yeah.
You can get it on a lot of different systems now, and I think if you got any version, even the original on Xbox, you would be well served. But the Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden 2, which I didn't finish, and I was into that game as well. Not as good as the first one, though, but still good. And then the whole series falls to shit after that. And it looks like it may be renewed in their new game, but like right now, the best one is still the first. So Ninja Gaiden Black is my recommendation.
All right, that's a good recommendation. It's only on Xbox, though, right?
No, it's on Xbox, which you can play backward compatibility on your Xbox 360. It's on PlayStation 3. It's on PlayStation Vita.
Okay. Well, if you own those things, then that's good. Oh, isn't there? There's a Ninja Gaiden on Steam, actually. It's called
No way.
Reba. I don't know if... Is it,
Is it the zombie one? That's like a horrible bastardized...
Yeah, Team Ninja is credited as one of the developers, but...
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a huge... It's a disaster.
This is
Don't touch it.
the cell-shaded stuff. Okay.
No, it's a disaster.
Stay away from it? All right, gotcha. It looks crappy, actually. Okay, well, so Ninja Gaiden Black is the recommendation for the official record. My recommendation is going to be Shadow Complex, and I've already talked about it a bit, but it's free, so now's the time to recommend it. And Crofton has actually recommended this before, I'm fairly certain, at some point.
Good.
Yeah, so now I'm giving it my recommendation. This is their first, I think, double recommend fist. And go to Epic Games, shadowcomplex.com, download it. You got the whole month to play it for free. It won't take you long to finish. If you've got a day, free day or two, you'll probably get pretty far in it. So that's my recommendation. That pretty much covers it.
It's a good one. I should tell you because I recommended it as well. It's funny. I'm glad that you played it recently though, because some of those recommends, like mine in particular, tend to be older games, and sometimes I don't know how well they hold up. In the case of Ninja Gaiden, I played it like I want to say 4 or 5 years ago on Xbox, well into the Xbox 360. I think I had just played Red Dead Redemption, and then I replayed Ninja Gaiden, so that gives you the timetable. And it held up really well, and I still really enjoyed it. But Shadow Complex,
I think it still holds up. I think it's still like a good, it's just I didn't feel like I was playing an old game when I was playing it.
Yeah, which is wicked. And so, and I love Metroidvanias like that, and it's a good one. So, Bo, we managed to do it. We made it through this majorly long episode.
Yeah, it's been a full nearly 2 hours now. So
I could draw it out longer, but instead I'm just going to say that you can get all our extra long episodes and the short ones, there are no short ones, at exmpodcast.com. You can follow us at exmpodcast on the Twitters. And we hope that you do. We announce when we're going live with the live stream, which we do on twitch.tv/EXM podcasts, generally on generally on Monday evenings. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/EXM podcast. But we'll always put some nice images to go along with the release of our podcast, which you can subscribe to. You can do that on Stitcher. You can do it on iTunes. You can pretty much get it anywhere where your local podcast store, wherever podcasts are consumed, you can get it. Also, if you like podcasts, and if you've made it this far, you probably do, then you should also listen to our second podcast. It's the Good, Bad, or Bullshit show, which Bo mentioned earlier. We take a look at a random topic every week, pull it out of a random topic generator, and then we decide if it's good, if it's bad, or if it's bullshit. It's not video game related, but if you like this, blah, 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 you'll probably like that. finally, Bo and I, both individuals of an individual nature, you can follow us separately.
Excuse me, I'm of a collective nature.
So, Bo, Mr. Collective,
you can find me at
the
Bo
PewDiePie.
Schwartz you can find me at Bo Schwartz on the Twitter. I'm a PewDiePie.
At Bo Schwartz.
I don't know why I feel like I have to talk like that every time you say PewDiePie, but
And you can follow the Greg Miller of the show, Beyond, at Crofted Steers on Twitter. And with that sort of paper trail tied up, vacuumed, if you will, we will now move into the final segment of the show, the Mastergame Theatre Quote of the Week.
It's now time for Mastergame Theatre.
All right, so this week we are doing one, and I think this is a first, for a game that is not yet released. I think have we done one for a game that has been released before?
I don't think so.
No.
And the reason this one got selected because our show notes for this show are 3 weeks in the making, is that I picked it out when I got selected for the Overwatch stress test beta. I figured we'll probably talk a lot about Overwatch on this one episode. It'll be an Overwatch episode, so let's go with an Overwatch quote. Except, it turned into 3 weeks, and there's a lot of other stuff we've talked about on the show that it feels
Suck it, Overwatch!
a little out of place. But since we didn't come up with anything else in the interim, we're going to go with this one, right?
It's from Overwatch, and it's from the character that Bo mentioned earlier, Tracer. He will deliver it because he knows the cadence of her speech. And it will be very short, and then once it's over, we will bid you adieu. Thank you for listening. Have a great tomorrow.
I just want to quickly say that there's a lot of great voice things in Overwatch. So, all right.
Thank you for listening. Have a great tomorrow.
Crofton's saying bye. He's done with the show. He's gone now. All right. The world could always use more heroes.
I didn't know that the character was voiced by Seth MacFarlane.
What?
From Family Guy.
Oh, I tried
Just
to do
like
a
a
girl
Family
voice.
Guy voice.
The world could always use more heroes.
Like a man doing a woman's voice.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here.
All right. Episode over. Episode over. So, for those of you on the Twitch stream, wow, I just took a look. I took a look at our Twitch stream for the first time, and I'm not going to read any of these.
Why not? It's not going to make it into the show. You can.
Okay, well, so No SWAT here says ho, which he then correct as saying hi. To be sure, he did not call us a ho. He said hi, and then some other guy, XXRVSBXX, said 1v1, MySpace. And then No SWAT here said, you're on, bitch. And he did a little arrow pointing up. And he also used the wrong your, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, grammar, my friend. Grammar.
Then RVS whatever says, K, den mate, see ya, Sika or whatever. Then No SWAT here says, wanna get sucked, which, at XXRVSBXX question mark. And then XXRVSBXX says, no thanks, bye-bye.
That's baby, I'm willing to bet. BBY.
No thanks, baby. That's, yes, he was just using a non-clementure or whatever, a short abbreviation. And then the put-up comes in and says, are Jews allowed to type in chat? And then when he got no response, he followed up with, are they? And still got no response. And then left.
And so how was that even funny? Like, you just went onto a random channel and was like, let me just say something about... Let me say something racist. Yeah, it's just like, why?
Because we're on Twitch. So, that said, thank you to all of those who contributed.
Yeah, the best was you want to get sucked. I saw that during the show, and I'm like, if I had drink in my mouth, I would have done a spit take. What is going on? And usually people are calling us fat fucks or like we look like Heisenberg. And now they're just trying to... It's like Tinder all up in here.
Well, yeah, that's it. Thank you for the live chat, and we're signing off the chats.
Yeah, we're super stoked. People decided to blow each other offline and met each other in our Twitch chat. It's great.
All right.
I'm going to sleep well at night knowing that this happened. Bye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Thanks for watching.